Hello, my name is Joachim Moore. You can call me Josh, and this is All Things Art. ATA is a place where artists of all sorts and kinds can be informed, inspired, and invigorated. I am the founder of a nonprofit organization called the Inner Circle Art Society. This media platform is sponsored and provided in part by the Moresite Group. What's good? How was your day? We're so excited to launch this podcast. I feel like it's going to offer a space for the actor, a space for the poet, a space for the photographer or ballet dancer, or any individual who creates what they deem as art. I hope it provides a leg up for you in the art world and potentially a way to grow in both knowledge and in experience. So what the hell are we going to talk about? Sports! No, I'm just playing. in approximately like 25 minutes, hopefully 25 minutes, I hope to cover news, interviews with other artists, artistic history, history of all sorts, questions that you guys have sent us. I'll cover my own personal interests such as acting, movies, theater. I'll cover other news too if it's looped in with art, but for the most part, we are going to stick with that said subject. How do we find inspiration for what we do as artists? How do we stay ingrained? We're going to cover some of that too. It's going to be fun. We're going to go ahead and get into my first interview today. We'll try to do them face to face as much as we can. Sometimes it may just be me, sometimes it may be no faces, just audio. Either way, we're going to try to create a dope show for you to hopefully take something from. Just a heads up, excuse our language ahead of the time. We're artists, not church deacons. So let's, without further ado, Lambo leap into it. I know, can't say enough about this guy, but to shorten it up, he's a husband, a brother, son, tech industry veteran, world traveler, whiskey lover. Last but not least, a creative enthusiast. One of my best friends. He's my first music collaborator and continues to be my music producer, Vasilis Mann. Vasilis, what up, man?
Hey, yo. How you doing, man?
Good, man. Good.
So my name is Vasilis Mann. Sometimes I go by V. Sometimes I go by V Man. Oftentimes I prefer to go by Vasilis. That's who I am.
That makes sense. Where are you from?
So I'm a Texas boy. I was born in San Antonio. My parents were in the military, so that's why they were stationed out in Texas. Prior to that, they were stationed out in Germany. My dad happens to be from Houston, Texas, so I did spend my formative years as a child out in Houston, all the way up to the age of 12, and then I moved to Chicago due to reasons of my mom and dad splitting. My mom being from Chicago. She took us to Chicago with her and stayed with her family up there. So, for all intents and purposes, my hometown is Chicago. That's where I usually say I'm from when people ask, just because I've spent majority of my life there. So the last 20 plus years have been in Chicago. I have bounced all over the country, but that's a different story. But I always have my home base back in Chicago. So that's the town that I rep, Chi-Town, 100%. So
That's what's up, man. You got any siblings? What's your family look like? How does that look?
yeah, so as far as siblings, I do have three brothers. So, well, I have four brothers. So I'm a triplet. So I have two brothers who are the same age as me and look very, very similar to me. I don't want to say that we look alike anymore. We used to at some point, but not so much anymore. Uh, but I grew up with that my whole life. That's my fun fact. Whenever I start a new job or whenever I have to introduce myself to people, it always gets brought up. I have an older brother who's about 18 months older than us. So shout out to my mom for having an infant at home and newborns. And then I have a brother that's currently around the age of 19. He's in college currently. my dad had him after him and my mom separated. So I had the opportunity to reconnect with him later in life after my dad passed away. But it's been good to see him and his journey. He's a good kid with a good head on the shoulders, and I'm looking forward to see the things that he accomplishes. As far as where they're all located at, so I have one brother that's in Houston, have another brother that's in St. Louis, another brother that is in Chicago, and the younger brother, he's based out of Houston as well. So all over the place. Typically make trips out to Houston and to the Midwest quite often to see everybody. I'm actually out in Richmond, Virginia currently because my wife is a travel nurse, so I tend to bounce around with her. So good times.
How important has family been, man, in this process of growing up as a musician and a husband?
So, I mean, family has been super important, man. This is one great song by Jordan Ward. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but it's a great artist, up and coming, released a phenomenal album last year. But he has a song about called Fam Jam 4000 that is about family, and he has this great line in there in the hook where he says, leading up to the hook where he says, without family, it don't mean anything, which I 100% subscribe to. All of this stuff, all the success, all of the enjoying life really doesn't mean anything unless you can spend that time with family and the people that you love. So always try to get back to them and really spend as much time with them as possible, and just enjoy quality time with family. Especially as you get older, you start to lose people. You really start to understand how important it is to cherish those moments, because memories are all we have left at the end of the day.
Yeah, man, I hear that. That's what's up. What kind of music do you like, though? What do you like to jam to?
Yeah, man. So as far as my music taste, I like a variety of different types of genres, and I attribute a lot of that to my dad. I remember him playing like Blues Traveler and Tracy Chapman, and he used to have like the Hootie and the Blowfish album. Like, that's how I really got into like different alternative type of music. Prior to that, my dad used to listen to like a lot of like No Limit, a lot of Tupac, a lot of Biggie, a lot of like DJ Quick, Mystical. Well, that's No Limit, but yeah. So I mean, I really got my music taste from that. My mom, on the other hand, she was really big into the R&B, Mary J. Blige, Erykah Badu, Jagged Edge. So just like listening to a lot of that growing up, kind of had me in this space where I was open to a variety of different type of music. When I was growing up, watched a lot of BT, MTV, back when videos were king and videos would be shown all the time on TV. Just got into different genres. And then as I got into high school, I had the opportunity to like really explore different type of music taste and music profiles, and really started to work in music then in high school. Just had this desire to like write raps and make beats, and like a typical black kid, man. But it was interesting because like the raps that we used to write used to be like straight garbage. It used to be like with this influence of Cash Money and Lil Wayne and Juvie and Turk and Baby and all them, because they were hot at the time. So with us being four brothers, we always had this like ideal of like, hey, we can have our little own clique. So used to write a lot of raps about like cash and getting girls and jewelry, a bunch of stuff that I didn't have when I was 11, 12 years old. But started off with that, and then eventually was like, well, want to try to make beats and try to get things going. So believe when I was 11 or 12 or 13 or something like that, I think I got the Alexis SR16, which if you're like into the music production, that's a classic machine. Like that's a 90s classic machine for drum machines. So got that. Really didn't know how to use it. I wish I had it today because I probably could do a lot more with it from a sound perspective. But started off with that, just trying to figure out how to make beats, and then eventually graduated to Fruity Loops, and really been really been focused on music production for the last 20 years or so. As far as the role that my like family has played in me as a person and me being a husband, really just try to like follow their lead. I find like my brothers to be super influential in my life as far as me seeing how they go about doing things, me getting guidance from them. Same with my mom. She really tries to instill in me good values, as far as taking care of myself, as far as taking care of my money, as far as working hard. And that just pushes me every single day to make sure that I am successful. And fortunately, I've had a lot of success in my life, from a career perspective that's been fairly consistent since I entered the adult workforce when I was 23. So it's been a good run over the last 12 years or so, and I'm just like really grateful for it. But a lot of that allows me to focus on like being a good person, being a good husband, really trying to make sure that I focus on that. I've been telling myself a lot lately that like how I do anything is how I'm going to do everything. So that really like causes me to really focus on the task at hand, no matter how small it may be. I need to make sure that I'm giving it my all, so that it doesn't disrupt my process in other areas of my life.
So who was the first one? Who was the first one to become inspired to make music in the family, man? Who was the one?
Yeah, so as far as man who became inspired first to make music, I would say my
Shout out to
older
Be
brother.
Crew.
He the one that really inspired us to start making beats and start writing raps. He always had this passion for it, so that really launched the rest of us to decide to start really trying to hone in on our craft. And then from there, it just kind of blew up from there, man. As far as just being consistent with it, my dad, he used to freestyle. Mainly, he would rip and bite, Tupac verses. So I don't know how much of a freestyle it was, but a lot of it was built around that, and just kind of took off from there. So as I mentioned earlier, um, back when we were in high school, we ended up getting that Alexis drum machine, and then from there, my older brother with his first job, he ended up buying FL Studio, so like the $99 version of it. So we ended up starting to make beats off of that, and it was a learning curve. Like you have to get used to it. We got like a Casio keyboard and used that as the MIDI controller, and just started to make beats from there. So they were trash. I mean, a lot of the first things that you make are going to be trash. I'm a lot better producer, beat maker now than what I was, but kind of launched from there, got a mic, started to make songs, and started to like randomly hand them out to random people that we knew rapped at our high school. And I mean, I didn't get any traction from it. I'm not a hip hop star today by any means, but didn't get any traction from it. But it was nice to kind of put music out there and to kind of focus and to kind of see, what you could create. And then throughout the years, it just became this obsession to do better, just to craft better music, to figure out ways to use software to make your quality of music sound better, to figure out what tools you can use. And that's really like what drives me today to continue it. Is That's the passion behind it. It's like, how can I make something better? How can I make something thoughtful? How can I make something that I actually enjoy?
That's dope, man.
So,
Let me ask you this: did your college experience ever differ from anybody in your family? Was it like different? And how has it benefited you? And do you feel like you were held back from any college experiences or anything?
yeah, man. So as far as my college experience was cool. Like I wouldn't say that I went to smaller schools. I was just talking to my mom about this, but like when people ask what school did I go to, I really don't get into that, especially like in corporate America, because I didn't go to like a Big Ten or a big university or any type of school like that. Like for the most part, if I tell people what schools I went to, unless you live in Chicago, you probably don't know what I'm talking about. Like so, I went to San Xavier University. I went to Trinity Christian College. So for me, different experience overall. Going to a Catholic university of PWI, like a lot of us do. Definitely a little bit of experience, especially with me being an introvert, not really somebody who talks a lot or engages people like that. I would say social media helped me out tremendously. I'm happy that it was around because without that, I probably wouldn't be able to connect with you or other people. So definitely beneficial in my life. After I went to San Xavier University for 3 years because could no longer afford it because of credit situation or well, not credit situation, financial aid situation. Ended up transferring to Trinity Christian College, and that was a complete culture shock because it was Christian reformed and had to go to mass every single week, and every single thing that was taught was based around Jesus, and that was into the criteria, the curriculum. And for me, a little bit of a culture shock at that time. Admittedly, I was trying to figure out what I was from a spiritual perspective, and really, really trying to understand like which route I wanted to go in life. And it was just a little bit different, a little bit weird, but adjusted it, and glad I graduated and moved on to other things from there. So
That's what's up, man. I'm happy for you. Yo, I got one. Okay, who are your top 3 producers?
Ooh, man, it's a good question. Top 3 producers. Ah, man, this is hard. I feel like it changes every now and then. But man, I gotta go with, and this is in no particular order. I gotta go with Knife Wonder.
Oh,
for sure.
Yeah, you put me on him, man.
Like,
definitely did.
Great production.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite rap groups of all time, Lil Brother.
Oh, mine too, dude. You put
The
me on them
Listening,
too? Yeah.
The Get Back, The Minstrel Show, all
Minstrel
phenomenal
Show.
Fonte is one of my favorite rappers, but the production that Knife Wonder puts down, always try to emulate what he does. The Neptunes, so Pharrell and Chad Hugo, that group collectively, one of my like some of my favorite productions from them. Definitely can show you how they can bring unique sounds and unique chord progressions and really create like amazing songs that are long lasting. And man, for the last one, man, it's hard. Like it has to be a tie between several different producers, but I would say maybe a 3-way tie between Kanye West for some of the amazing production that he did on the College Dropout, My Dark Twist Fantasy, 808 and Heartbreak, just phenomenal work. The Alchemist,
okay,
and this is recently has been admission to my production list. And the reason for that is because longevity for The Alchemist.
Straight up.
Like, it's crazy how in the 90s he was making like amazing beats and putting out crazy,
I thought it was a new Alchemist.
Crazy instrumentals. Then he comes to the 2000s, has some great production, then puts out a great rap album. And then even like now, you see the work that he's doing. It's crazy because people from Gen Z get to experience The Alchemist. This man has spanned it over 4 decades. It's insane. And then lastly, Jay Dilla, highly influential. He's the reason why like I love sampling so much. Just because I wish I had like the skill set that he has as far as how he's able to chop and find different sounds that he likes. I wish I was that talented. I'm absolutely not, but highly influential. So I know I gave you 5 producers there, but I had to.
It's all good, man. I got you. Yeah, dude, I got one for you. So I personally thought both of us should have ended up in a music school like Columbia or UCLA.
Man, that's
if that was so, how do you think it would have changed for us musically? Enhanced, digression. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, man. Like, I always wanted to go to music school. When I was in high school, not the first, but I would say like had this class back when I was at high school called Music Tech. It was a great class. Basically got the opportunity to work on like beats the whole time. Um, and then just come up with like different instrumentals. So I took it 2 years in a row. Was my favorite class in high school, hands down. They gave us the software, they gave us the keyboards, they gave us everything that we needed. It was great. So from there, I did this project in high school where we had to research like uh, we had to research options for us after high school, and I ended up and we had to make a brochure, and I made a brochure about this music school. I think it was like an audio engineering school out in Berkeley, California. So I actually was like really considering that, but when I went to college, it's just decided to go the business route, just a generic business route, because I knew I wanted to get my degree, and I knew that the liberal arts path or the music path really wasn't an option. But man, I think if we would have ended up going to music school together, that would have been insane. I don't know where we would be today, but it definitely would have been lovely to get into that and to really like focus on music production and audio engineering and all the creativity that we would have got into there would have just been
Yeah, it
phenomenal.
would have been for sure. Yo, what does perseverance look like to you?
Man, perseverance to me means getting it just means getting knocked down and getting back up. Just to put it plainly. Um it's to come across a roadblock, feel it. Like I think you should sit in it for a little bit. You can have emotions, you can feel it, you can get you can be sad, be angry. But after you feel that, it's getting back up and finding a way around that roadblock. I think a lot of people get knocked down and they just stay down. And I think the people who are able to get knocked down and get back up, and not only get back up, but to be even better when they do get back up, I think those are the strong people. I think those are the people that end up being the most successful
Yeah,
um, in this life.
yeah, I
So,
hear you. Who or what is your inspiration in life? What motivates you every day to hop on a computer and make dope beats? I know you've been doing it for a minute, man.
man, I would say like as far as like my inspiration to work on music, man, honestly, just my mental health and just the passion for it. For me, making music is a great way to escape. And well, I don't want to say escape because I'm not really trying to escape anything, but I think it's a way to take a break from everything that's in front of us in this world. And what I mean by that is that like I can be on social media all day, every
Right.
day, right? Just scrolling, mind numbing posts, like really getting
Yeah.
nothing from it. I might be in a space where I'm stressed out from work. I have anxiety thinking about money. I'm wondering like what's next in life. When I work on beats and I work on music, it's just me working on beats and working on music for that time period. I can just sit here for 3 hours, don't have to touch my phone, be in silence, nothing but my headphones on, working on music. Um, the other piece is the passion piece. Like for me, this is all. It's all about a puzzle. Like to make this as nerdy as possible. I think good producers have good workflows. They understand. They know their process. They know what works for them. They know what sounds they enjoy.
Right.
They know what drums they enjoy. They know their sound. They know what they want to create, and they go in and they're able to do that. That's why producers like Just Blaze have been able to go in and make a beat in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and it's
Yeah.
a hit. It's a
Yeah,
classic.
sure.
Like I think going in with that mentality as if this is a puzzle and I'm looking to solve this. And for me, solving it is making something that sounds amazing to my ears, that gets me excited. That's what music production is for me. A lot of the beats that I produce, I'm not selling these beats. I'm not, giving them to artists. Sometimes I'll make tracks off of them just for my own personal, personal benefit, and just for my own personal privilege and enjoyment. But I'm not doing this for money or anything like that. It's just something I love to do, something that I thoroughly enjoy. And for me, it's a great way to relieve stress. It's a great way to be creative. It's a great way to keep my mind working and to keep the juices flowing.
Yeah, I hear that. That's true. That's all very, very true. Speaking of working, do you have any projects right now? Are you working on something? Got a little EP coming out?
Yeah, man. So I'm definitely working on a project. I started working on, I guess, this series when my dad died. The first project in the series was called While I Was Grieving. So now I'm just trying to keep this While I Was theme going. So the next project that I'm working on is called While I Was Growing. I have some songs for it recorded, still working through it, still making beats for it, still having my brothers send me some beats as well. But it's getting there. I'll probably be done with it at some point this year. Just have to mix, record, continue to write songs. But I definitely have been working on that, just trying to get my thoughts together. For me, it's a great therapeutic way for me to like deal with life, deal with being in my 30s, deal with like having like a midlife crisis or anything like that, and really try to talk about things that I want to get off my chest, and hopefully things that I want to hear later on in life as I get older.
Yeah,
so
that's what's up, man. What's a word of inspiration you can give for a kid working on a computer with not all the capabilities a Mac would have, or an artist that uses their mouth to make beats with a pencil and paper to write music? What can they do to level up?
Yeah, man. For all the kids out there that are making beats and music production, like I said, I'm not by any means like someone who's like successful at this. I do this because I'm passionate about it, and I would say like always keep that first. I know a lot of kids out there and a lot of younger folks, they want to go viral, they want to make some quick money and do all that, which I think definitely strive for that if that's your goal in life. But also just remember like have fun with all of this. Like, find a workflow that works best for you. Find some programs that work best for you, and just make some good beats. Find some producers that you like, emulate them. Find some sounds that you like, and continue to use those and make things that you enjoy, that you can listen to every single day, that you can share with your friends, share with your family, and then
That's a good word, dude. Shout outs. Any shout outs? Anybody you want to talk to? Xavier drinking Coronas? I see you. No, I'm just playing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I guess I can shout out the family. Shout out my wife Amber. Shout out the bros. Shout out my mom. Shout out my dad. Shout out my bonus dad as well. Shout out friends and family, man. Shout out to everybody. Everybody in my life.
That's what's up, man. Well, listen, dude. It has honestly been a pleasure. I have enjoyed hanging out with you over here for a little bit, and
hey, man, dude, I appreciate you having me.
You got it every time.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you can come over anytime, and we could, make some more music like we used to back in the day, baby. Awesome. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Again, that was my homie, my music collaborator and friend, Vasilis Mann. Thanks, V. I appreciate you, and I wish you the best. That was a good amount of our time today, but not without listening to a segment of Preferences. It's a little bit my show. Featuring the ensemble member Checo Valenti, where we talk about this or that, keeping in line with all things art. Today's preference is, who do you prefer? The quality of both of these guys are unmatched, but if someone held a gun up to your head, I hate when people say that. Let's just say, if you have to prolong someone's career in that instant, who would you do it for and why? So let's think. All right, and these guys are David Chappelle and Eddie Murphy. We'll go with an easy one at first. Obviously, it's not easy to compare these two or anything, but these are two people, obviously, that the general public know for the most part. So, what do you think, Checo?
All right. Well, thanks for having me, Josh. It's great to be on here.
Yeah, man.
If I had to pick in between who, it really comes down to I think just Eddie Murphy in general.
Just gonna get right to it, huh?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, man. I love Dave Chappelle. I love his stand-up. I love the Chappelle Show. We can talk on and on about how great Dave Chappelle is, but I just think that in terms of art, in terms of the amount of art that we're talking about, Eddie Murphy's has it. I mean, he has stand up, he has music, he has film, and some of the films, I mean, are I won't even say legendary, but they're so ingrained in pop culture.
Give me 5 Eddie Murphy films right now.
5 Eddie Murphy films. Well, first, I mean, I grew up seeing some of like those kid ones. So like Daddy Daycare would the first one that comes to mind when I think of it.
Dude, honestly,
but
people say that that's like not really that funny. Oh, I don't know if people say it's funny, but that was funny as hell to me. I know, like, a lot of people know him for like Nutty Professor and all that stuff.
Yeah,
but I love those family movies that he did, man, because some of that stuff he adds his own like little adult humor from his like his movements and stuff are like, oh man, that's funny. That's from Raw, or that's from Nutty Professor.
Right, exactly. And like even a Beverly Hills Cop. There's another one,
Yeah, and you can't beat that stuff.
You can't beat that stuff. And then when you even look at some of his serious roles, I mean, I believe I'm right on this, but he was nominated for Dreamgirls for Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
So again, taking in music on top of that, because he sang all of that stuff in there as well. So
yeah, dude.
I just think that Eddie Murphy just has more. I want to say a bigger of a range right now in terms of acting, performance wise. Obviously, Dave Chappelle is a lot bigger currently.
Right. So
now.
Yeah, and definitely right. I hear it. In terms of body of work, I think. Excuse me. I think Dave Chappelle's career, obviously, his first official start being probably in the early '90s. We know, we know Eddie Murphy from SNL. I didn't watch much SNL.
I love
but
SNL.
I know that he got a good bit of his stuff from that start, along with his own comedy, his own personal comedy.
Yeah,
and he. Especially in the early '90s, he started, really getting it going. I mean, this guy.
Yeah, and the thing too is like Eddie. I mean, I feel like Dave Chappelle is a lot more for the adult or more mature audiences in a sense. Obviously, Chappelle's Show. I remember seeing that as a kid, in middle school and whatnot, and there's that thing. But Eddie Murphy, like we talked about the range, kid movies from Daddy Daycare, Haunted Mansion.
Right.
He does all that stuff. Shrek. I mean, and that's the thing too. Growing up with me, it's like, he's the voice of Mushu in Mulan. He's Donkey in Shrek.
Right.
Like the range from kids shows, films, even to more mature stuff,
right.
And comedy stuff.
I will say now though, as an adult, I mean, because it ranges. I mean, obviously Eddie Murphy, and it's kind of crazy how their careers kind of maybe went reversed, and then maybe went back reversed in terms of what I'm saying. Not reverse, because I don't think David Chappelle didn't do too much kid stuff. But Eddie Murphy, I know, did a lot of adult stuff in the beginning, and now he started to appeal more towards family, which is pretty dope. Dave Chappelle, when I grew up, it was it was like Prohibition era to listen to, or watch Dave Chappelle. You could get it like bootleg, especially where I come from. You could watch it like that, and then it was just kind of interesting to grow up. And now, as an adult, he helps so much, and I'm sure he helps so much with other people. He helps so many people cope with what's going on in America. The shittiness of everything kind of going on, and he helps to bring comedy to a lot of the situations, and kind of help us heal in that way. And so,
absolutely.
Thanks. That was good. Thanks, Chego. We look forward to what you got for us next time. Before I go, and we hit our time this time around, but it's all good. I do feel like it's necessary to check in with you, especially as an artist. You don't got to talk back to me or nothing, but I know it's pretty lonely out here, man. It's a straight up epidemic out here, loneliness and isolation. And it leads people to do some crazy shit, some crazy QAnon shit. But seriously, it leads to increased cases of heart disease, stroke, dementia. So I'm checking in. Take a minute, be straight up with yourself for once. Nobody is looking or watching. I promise. I'm just going to ask you a couple questions, all right? How are you doing this week? Are you getting shit done? Are you feeling good physically? Healthy? I mean, healthy as you can, right? Are you attempting to eat the right stuff? Hell, I'm trying. As an artist, are you making the time for yourself? Because you know we need that time for us to make art and to move right, to dance right, to paint right. What's been bringing you joy lately? I'm a grumpy person by nature, I'm like Mr. Wilson from Dennis the Menace, but I do find joy in posting up with my family from time to time. What fears are you currently experiencing? Are you dealing with it the best you can? Or are you at the point where you could use a little help? And trust me, it's okay if you do. Hell, I've been there. Do you feel like you give your all every day, not only as an artist, but as a person? Because if you leave empty daily, as a person, I'm sure you've given a little bit to what you love, right? Did you leave the day empty in a good way? And that's why I say do something you love and do the shit out of it, because if you don't have one yet, try to find one. Try to find something you like, because one day it could develop into a goal, and that goal could become an open opportunity, and that open opportunity could change your life. And so that's what I'm talking about when I say, persistence is key, and motivation gets you somewhere. So that's it for now. I got to go change my son's presumably shitty diaper. So, thanks for listening. I'll get with you soon, all right? All right now. Later. Thanks for listening, everybody. Till next time.